Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the After School Cinema Club. It's your boy Vaughn. I am the actor of the group. I'm joined today by the same people I've been joined by: Dylan, our writer, Jose, our director extraordinaire, and we've got some great stuff for you today. We are talking about some movie news. We're also going to jump into the film of the week. This week, we're looking at Godzilla X Kong, A New Empire. And with that, take it away. News.
Cut to the writer for the news. I think the kind of the biggest news I feel like of the week, just from like a upcoming movie standpoint, was about Joker 2. So Joker 2 is going to be a jukebox musical. I learned what that word was while reading this article. So a jukebox musical means it's a musical that has like not original songs. So it's like songs that are like already popular. It's going to feature at least 15 of those, which it seems like a lot. And there's potentially original songs that are going to be added. But the other thing that I thought was really interesting as well is the budget. So the budget has increased from 60 million for the first movie to 200 million for the second one.
Shit.
I have no idea. That's more than, just to put into perspective, that's more than what Dune 2 costs. I have no idea why they're spending that much money on the movie, but I'm kind of curious. What do y'all think?
I'm going to call it licensing. That's probably where a lot of that money has to go.
Wow, that makes perfect sense. I didn't even think about
Lady
that.
Gaga for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm sure she probably got a bag too. Yeah.
And for other folks like Dylan who maybe are not as familiar with jukebox musicals, think Moulin Rouge. That's a really good example of a jukebox musical movie.
Mamma Mia.
Actually. Yes, Mamma Mia. Although that's a tricky one. Mamma Mia's kind of trickier because like ABBA made Mamma Mia.
Yeah. It's it's a unique story. What's up, Jose?
I was thinking Glee, because Glee sounds like a hour-long show where people sing songs that are already existing. But I'm assuming it's just a movie where people sing covers of songs. I mean, that's, pretty self-explanatory, I feel like.
Yeah. Think Glee, but more finesse, hopefully.
More finesse. Wow.
Because, I mean, Glee, I feel like what they do is they start with the songs and then work backwards and make the plot fit the songs that they want to use. And this story, especially with somebody like, the Joker and Harley Quinn, there is so much existing IP about that dynamic and that relationship that they can probably start with that as the base and then find, lovers quarrel type songs to, fit into the narrative. I hope.
Is Lady Gaga gonna sing Poker Face?
She kind of has to, right? Wait, she kind of
Bad
has
Romance?
to.
Oh, Bad Romance! Oh!
I know like 2 Lady Gaga songs, and how am I the one that's like picking the one out of the group?
Great pull, Dylan. That's so good.
How do y'all feel about the first Joker movie?
To put like the stigma of being a cinephile and saying that it was like the greatest movie of all time away, it was a pretty good movie for when it came out and for what it meant to talk about and its whole shtick with it. I hate that the internet has kind of ruined it for most people, but it's a solid movie for sure.
Yeah, it's tricky for me because I want to be able to, like, in a vacuum, I enjoy it. Absolutely, it's a great film. But I think when you think about the timing that it came out, socially speaking, it I wouldn't say necessarily glorifies that sort of like behavior and like the sociopathy and all of like just the jokerness of everything. But I do think we can't be as like snobby with this kind of art and say, oh, like people are gonna get it and like nobody actually wants to like do this or believe this. But at the end of the film, he kind of, spoilers, he kind of like has a triumph in a manner of speaking. And what message are we sending to people who are watching this film and seeing Joker and saying that's me? So I get the ick a little bit from it all, but like from an art standpoint, I'm excited. I think the first Joker came out, was that
It's like
What year was that?
2018,
2019. I was in DC.
2019.
2019. Got you. Because yeah, I just remember, and, we can't separate the art from the time it exists. This is, that's prime like Trump era, and lots of white men having lots to say about everybody else and just going off the handle and not really being checked on it. So to have a film that also celebrates that and like echoes that sentiment makes me scared. Especially that whole scene with him, I forget the character's name, but Robert De Niro's character. Like
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
dynamic, and then that scene, and then the going into the climax. I'm just like, I don't feel safe going home.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I really enjoyed it. It was one of those things of to Jose's point, yeah, like it catches a ton of flack online now. Some of it I understand criticisms. I understand the criticism of that it's like potentially glorifying, like this type of mental illness or people that maybe, lean in this way. I guess I can understand that criticism. I'm a big proponent of like just because something's happening on a movie or in a movie, it isn't necessarily like it's not like, oh, this is necessarily good or, oh, we're endorsing it. I do understand the point, though, of like how at the end, without spoiling it in case someone wants to see it, that it can kind of be like a triumph. I understand that. But I dug it. I remember walking out. I saw it at AMC Uptown, like the old school AMC that's now closed down. And it was like a crazy packed theater. And it was like everyone seemed to really enjoy it. I don't know if it was like Oscar worthy that that Joaquin won for it. But I'm excited for the second one. I guess I was wondering how it could cost $200 million. I didn't think about music licensing, which if they're just like really trying to grab some big songs, they might be paying some serious money for. But I'm excited. I mean, we all know that where they shot it in downtown LA. We would like to see them sometimes shooting it. So yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic.
What's the release date for that?
Let me check.
Oh,
October 4th. It's probably going to be like 5-ish years to the date when the first one came out.
This is an election year. I'll just say that.
Dang. Joker 2 Culture War. We're calling it here first, folks.
Team Harley, Team Joker. Pick your side.
Yeah, are you team woke or team men? Pick a side. America.
Man.
Anyways, on
yes, please. Anything else?
The other thing I want to talk about, I mean, it's kind of quick. The trailer for Kinds of Kindness dropped, which is the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie. He's the same director who did Poor Things. It's got Emma Stone in again, Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, Margaret Qualley. I loved this trailer, Vaughn. If I don't even know if you watched it because you're not really a trailer person. The trailer's under a minute long. Gives away absolutely no plot details, just a bunch of shots that are out of context and like incredibly high paced. I have no idea what's going on in the movie. It looks super interesting. It looks totally different than any other movie Yorgos has done. I'm super excited about it. If y'all have seen it, what did y'all think?
I did watch the trailer.
Dang.
Only because it's in right. Only because it's in the group chat and I knew we were going to talk about it. So I was like, well, I need to be knowledgeable about this thing. Yeah, I'm really excited because it has the things that I like about Yorgos, like there's like this weird edge, and it's just like this eccentric kind of vibe to it. But I do also like that, at least of the stuff that I've seen of his, it doesn't feel like period in any way. It feels very much present.
Yeah,
and the cast is so stacked. The cast is so stacked. So I'm really excited, especially Jesse Plemons. I think it'll be a long time until he gets his actual flowers, but this man has been putting in amazing work maybe 2 decades now.
Since Like Mike.
Yeah, I always forget about Like Mike. I think about Friday Night Lights, but yeah. He's incredible, and I'm excited to see him in this.
Yeah, I feel like while it's called a trailer, I think this is a classic teaser because to your point, Dylan, there's like nothing going on. I hate when a teaser is like a 45-second clip with like names on it and it's just like a few one-liners. This is like a minute long and it's a quote-unquote trailer. I think it should have been called a teaser. But I like the art of the trailer. I like when people are subversive with their marketing, man. We think back to the hype with the Avengers, and like watching every trailer and breaking it down and realizing like, oh, what's this, oh, what's that, and then ultimately the movie comes out and like 90% of the stuff in the trailer never actually made it to movie. It was just all to build hype. um, there's an art to making a good trailer, and I feel both of you. Current trailers are just, oh, here's the plot, oh, here's this big reveal, or here's this big twist. um, but I mean, it's cool. I'll see. We'll see it if for the pod for sure. I don't know too much else about it really.
I don't know anything about the movie either. I know nothing.
Yeah,
Emma Stone's driving a car.
yeah.
And Willem Dafoe is
Yeah.
doing that thing with his face he does, which
Yeah.
might just be his resting face, but he does it so well.
Yeah, but I did appreciate the trailer starts in 3, 2, 1, and they like splash in like all the most interesting, quote unquote, interesting like scenes in the trailer in those 3 seconds.
Well,
I hate it.
well, that's a different kind of movie that does that. I feel like that's a very action blockbustery kind of trope, because I think back to watching the trailer for Love Lies Bleeding before we went to go watch it. And similarly, I feel like there was a plot and there was like a synopsis that was in there, but then it never really connected, in my opinion. So to your point, where I hate those trailers that are like, yeah, we're starting in 3, 2, 1, and then it's just like cuts to black, and then it cuts to like the MPAA, and then it does this and it does that. It's just so much like lead up
Just
to
the
where the
TikTok
trailers,
brain of it all.
yeah, yeah. There's a Subway Surfer in the bottom and a Minecraft gameplay on the top. Yeah.
And funny that you mentioned that kind of context, because that's gonna come up when we get to this week's movie. Because I have I have not been able to avoid every single trailer, and I've seen some stuff, and I got questions. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get to it.
Can't wait. So the other big thing, kind of surprisingly out of the blue, Jerry Bruckheimer, who's the producers for, a ton of blockbuster movies, Top Gun, as well as the Pirates movies, basically said that they're going to reboot Pirates so that it's easier to put together because you don't have to wait for certain actors. That was kind of all he said in reference to that. People took that as, oh, no Johnny Depp. So that, and which I understand. And he has said before in previous, I think he said it like a few years ago, that he doesn't know if Johnny Depp's going to come back. I think that was like before the trial, or at least before the trial was over. And they might not want to like maybe get him involved, but reading more into it. So I guess apparently there's a script for a Margot Robbie led version with the Birds of Prey writer. And he said in the same thing that movie, that's not going to be what this movie is, but that movie may come out down the line. I'm down for a Margot Robbie Pirates movie. I loved Johnny Depp's role, but I'm not like married to it. If you could get someone else to play a cool pirate, I'm all for it. What do y'all think?
It's a gender swap Pirates. Margot Robbie is Captain Jack Sparrow. Disney is woke, unfortunately.
It's how many Pirates movies are there?
So
6.
there are 5. And
Damn.
guess how much the total gross of those 5 movies are?
Of all 5?
Yeah.
$2 billion.
2.4.
$4.5 billion. I could not believe that. That is insane.
What?
Across 5 movies?
Across 5 movies. I'm about to pull it all up for you. Hold on.
That, I mean, it's international for sure, right? There's no way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, yeah. Curse of the Black Pearl. $140 million for the budget. $650 million in box office. The second movie,
the first one's a classic.
Dead Man's Chest. It is. First one, $225 million budget. It did $1 billion. Third,
What?
At World's End, $300 million budget. It did $960 million. Fourth movie, On Stranger Tides, also did another $1 billion. And then Dead Men Tell No Tales did $800 million on a budget of around $300 million. They haven't made one since.
And now I that brings me to my next thought slash question. How much of the pirate success is linked to Captain Jack Sparrow? I know he's there all the
One
time and
one
he's
100% of it. 100% of it.
so I'm nervous. Like if the implication is that Johnny Depp is the person that they don't want to have to wait for, and they're gonna have Margot Robbie lead it. Like I mean, if she's the co-star with him, that plays differently. But there is something that is so iconic and eccentric. I mean, he's one of the Hollywood Walk of Fame characters that you run into all the time. Like that, I think that says something that like people, because this is an international, like that's a landmark for us. Even I think about folks in New York at Times Square. Like Jack Sparrow is so iconic. To try to lead a Pirates movie without Jack Sparrow, like it's like a
I'm for it.
Transformers movie without Optimus or Bumblebee.
I disagree. It's like a Star Wars movie without Luke, or an Indiana Jones movie without Harrison Ford. It's time not to say that it's time. I'm saying that if they do this and they do this right, they will have another star for 5 6 movies, and then it'll die. And then if they reboot it again, I hope that they would have the foresight to start from scratch and still have these legacy characters to build this lore around this universe. But
Hmm.
they have to just they have to stick the landing and like not even mention Jack or the Black Pearl or Barbosa, because even in the other ones, like they did not mention um
Will
oh my
Turner
god,
and
yeah,
Elizabeth
yeah, they didn't
Swan.
mention them at all.
Why was that at the front of my brain?
That's
I didn't know I
crazy.
knew
That's
that well.
Hey, you're
crazy. There was no editing involved. Like you literally, like before he could even finish asking, you answered. That's nuts.
Oh, the
you're a
brand is
pirate.
strong.
Yeah, so are you saying that they should do like you're not saying it should be like a James Bond style reboot where it's like this is Jack Sparrow but just cast differently, or it should just be just a totally different pirate in like whatever, just the name Pirates of the Caribbean? I'm up for either. I'm just more curious what you meant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up for either too. I meant more of just like ignoring Jack completely, right? Because I mean, you think back to two of Disney's other properties, right? Star Wars and Indiana Jones. It's up until now where we've allegedly stopped the Skywalker saga just because they've been trying so hard to stick to that core, like, oh, Luke Skywalker, original trilogy, like sort of hype. And then how many times has Harrison Ford broken something filming the next Indiana Jones movie because they keep wheeling him out at like 86, 87, right? And while Johnny Depp is pretty young, I mean, relatively young compared to like Harrison Ford, if they keep bringing him back, then they just like attach that sort of stigma with him. And say this fails, say Disney tries again in 3 years, they're probably going to bring him back. Say that fails, they try again in 3 more years, they'll probably can bring him back. But if this succeeds, they'll probably bring back Margot Robbie, or they'll hopefully build something around the mythology of pirates, right?
Yeah, my hope is new pirate, new stories. And let's not even reference the other folks. Maybe an Easter egg in the back of one shot in one scene. But my fear
Give me the monkey.
is actually yes. Um my fear is we wind up in a world where like, with Marvel, where are they 15, 8 or 16 years in
Yeah,
this like
16.
franchise, and the second they try to do something different and it's not super successful, now they're like, we need to figure out a way to bring Tony back, we got to
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
Cat back, and like there's all this talk about bringing the OGs back because they know data wise, though, like when these people are in these movies we make money, these people aren't in these movies and we didn't make money, so let's get
Yeah.
these people, and that doesn't necessarily have to be the formula.
I will challenge that and say that Hollywood as a whole should go back to storytelling and not
Shut up. Get out of here. Leave. What do you think this is? kind of dumb shit is that?
What industry do you think this is, kid?
I rest my time.
All right, and that was talking pirates. The other
By the way,
the
the ride came first. For the record, right? The ride came first.
that's the most
Yes.
successful
That's
of the
insane.
like Disney ride to movies, right? I didn't know that either. I thought they made the ride because of
Nope.
the movie.
The ride came first. That's crazy.
It's crazy that Disney built a Jungle Cruise ride because of the movie with The Rock and Emily Blunt, though. That's crazy.
About that.
After moving to LA and realizing what Jungle Cruise is, I could not believe that was made into a movie. That is
Yeah.
the most bottom
great.
of the barrel, like
what?
like just in the sense of
on.
just like not from a movie quality standpoint of just like we're gonna make this into a movie. It's just like
Okay,
I could not believe it.
But Haunted Mansion or Pirates or what other ride? Disney ride movie is there?
That started as a ride first.
I don't know
That's-
anyone.
All I can think of.
There's probably a Disney adult that is like screaming into their phone right now, and I'm sorry, we don't care.
Get in the comments. Let us know.
Wait, Dylan, are you shitting on the movie Jungle Cruise or the ride Jungle Cruise?
So I've
I
never
think
been on the
both.
Jungle Cruise ride personally.
What?
I know the
What?
lore behind it. I've only been to Disney twice.
Oh, the
and I'm
extensive
there.
lore.
I'm there behind. Yeah, I know it's like Elden Ring, but I'm there for Rise of Resistance, and that's all.
Gotcha.
I go in, ride Rise of Resistance, cut over to California Adventure, get on Cars, maybe the Guardians Tower of Terror, and
So-
we're good.
So you wait in line while your friends go and enjoy the park, huh?
Nah, man, you pay for Lightning Pass. I'll pay the $20 to cut that line. You kidding me?
But you're going on two
Wow.
of the longest wait times at Disney.
When you pay for the whatever the like magic access is, like I'd pay an extra $20. I'm already paying like an obscene amount of money to go there, which is why I never go there. What's an extra $20 to cut the line gonna hurt?
On the
But you
other
don't.
end of things, I have been almost a dozen times to Disneyland. I have not paid a single penny to enter those parks.
Wait,
And
what?
I've only ever waited in line.
And it only
I-
cost you $2,500.
Yeah, I just it pays to know people. I know people that know people.
Fair.
We didn't mention it before when we saw Dune. When we saw Dune at like the IMAX premiere thing, the dude immediately behind Bond was like, "Oh my god!" And like they talked for like 10 minutes after the movie, just like never seen this person before. Apparently close friend of Vaughn. Just
Yeah.
Oh wow.
knows everybody.
It's my superpower.
We should go to Disneyland.
Do a live
Sounds like
pod.
somebody's coming back.
I'll go to Disneyland. I love
Do
Disneyland.
Disneyland, and then we can go karting at K1 and do like a live pod as we're racing, and like we can like
Yeah.
review whatever like that like Hemsworth F1 movie is.
The Ferrari? No.
Oh, Rush?
No.
Rush, yeah, which is apparently pretty good. Never seen it though.
You have Oh, okay. Yeah, Rush is
Mad
good.
Max is right there. Actually, we should do it for Mad Max.
Yeah.
No,
Damn. Okay.
it's more
Early
relevant.
opinions, folks. Early
Yeah.
opinions.
Although the Brad Pitt F1 movie's coming out sometime soon too.
I'm excited for it.
I'm down.
All right. Next up is Spider-Man. So there was a Spider-Verse trailer, or not trailer, sorry, a short that dropped. I'm gonna hand it immediately over to Vaughn because Spider-Man is his thing. Vaughn, take it from here.
Yeah, so this short drops, and I forget what the cause specifically was, but I know it was around like mental health, and just feeling comfortable enough to reach out, and it's something that I really enjoy. It reminded me a lot of like watching. I think they do it with several properties on Cartoon Network, but Steven Universe would have several like in between the episodes they would have shorts about bullying and like how to stand up and like speak up for yourself and all that. This Go watch the short. It's available on YouTube. It's
It's like
incredible.
7 minutes long.
Yeah, 7 minutes. And while I can't relate to being able to climb a wall, the idea of having a lot on your mind and not not having the energy or the tools to communicate, or not feeling that strength or courage to communicate, I definitely felt. So watching it, I was blown away at how effective. I mean, this, I keep wanting Sony to somehow like fumble the bag, and then Marvel can get the proper, like, the rights to Spider-Man back so that he can fully be a part of like the full universe. But they do everything Spider-Verse absolutely perfect, and this just was another gold star for me. Um we and I didn't know where we were going for a second there, but I too have woken up to my shadow dream demon at the foot of my bed, and
That's the
he's
first
taking me
thing I
for a
thought
ride.
of. Was your dream demons, your sleep paralysis demons? That's like the first thing I thought of.
Am I the only? Do y'all not have that?
Not since I was a
No,
kid.
thankfully, no.
Oh
Yeah.
I would
no,
be
like mine,
terrified.
like should probably pay rent. Like we see each other fairly often.
That's nuts. Nah, I'm good.
And you can't move, so you're just like, all right, I got to process this, and I hope he doesn't freak out this time. He's usually chill, but yeah, the I loved it. What about y'all? What you think?
Yeah, I loved it too. I'm not a fan of spiders. So that, like, minor spoilers for the spoilers, actually full spoilers for the short. That whole spider bit was just not. I'm not a fan of. I have had a nightmare where I'm in his position where, like, the spider's fangs are like right there. I'm just like, oh, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Um, but yeah, like, I get the message behind it. I had no idea what this was about. I saw on Twitter like the day before, like, hey, this thing's coming out tomorrow, look out for it. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, I wonder what this is gonna be about. And it threw me completely for a loop. Um, I like the idea of, or not, I don't like the idea, but I can relate to the idea of trying to muster up the feelings of talking to a parent, because I feel like for most people or most teens, just talking to a parent is hard. Just like understanding that, they've been where you are, and they know more, and they, like, can offer that guidance. Not just because they are your parent, but because they are literally just older than you, and that's something that I'm realizing now. Being 26, talking to my mom, and being like, "Damn, where was she at 26?" And then just thinking of everything that I'm thinking about now, she was probably thinking about before. And then just being vulnerable to open up and have that conversation. I really, really appreciated that they did super well.
Yeah, I at first too, I was a little confused because I just thought it was like Halloween themed, and I'm like, why is this coming out in the end of March? But then like the more you watched it, and I was just like, but yeah, without really spoiling, yeah, the idea of like a superhero experiencing mental health issues, and then how that could be like even worse, like, but like with the whole without saying much, just like the teasing how his abilities make that even worse was really interesting. And just from the aside, and funny enough, I feel like it's weird that I'm the one saying this as the one that probably is the least appreciative of animation. I really dug how much it just looked like I was actually looking at a comic book, like how they would put the little windows in while things were going on. It really did. And I know that like the movies have kind of like teased that a little bit at times as well, but I thought that was a really cool touch. And at first I was like, oh, is this going to be like a tie-in or like a really, really small thing for, the new movie that's coming out, or like whenever that's going to come out? It's probably like years away. But no, it ended up being like basically a Pixar short for Spider-Man, which I thought was super cool.
For sure. And I hope that what we saw portrayed offers courage for all parties involved, because I think, to your point, Jose, like, as a teen, find the courage to reach out to a parent, that also then means that the parent has to have the capacity to receive that child. And yeah, to see him say, Dad, like, I'm not up to like the movie night you have planned. I'm gonna like do my own thing in my room, and then deal with his own like personal demons, literally, and to come and like for his dad, first of all, to say, okay, take your space, and then for him to come out and like, hey, can we actually talk? And for him to hold that space for him, I thought was so important, and especially in BIPOC families and households, I feel like mental health can be such a taboo subject. So for them to just with such great care and intention show up in that way, I thought was really, really helpful and really important.
Yeah,
A
props to. I'm
plus.
guessing Lord and Miller did it. I'm guessing they were involved. So props to them or whoever else directed it and wrote it. Yeah, shouts to you. The last thing I want to talk about from a news standpoint, it's less news, it's kind of news, and then more also just like a venting session. So basically, Netflix released a show. Hey, this is a movie podcast. Yeah, sometimes we're going to talk about shows. Sorry. Released.
After School Television Club.
Yeah.
Hey now.
Released. So Netflix released Three Body Problem on their like last week, and so if you haven't heard of it, I don't blame you. I hadn't heard of it either. The thing that I was more surprised about was that this is the follow up from David Benioff and DB Weiss. And if you don't know who those people are, if those names sound a little familiar, those are the people that adapted Game of Thrones, which for 6 seasons was very good, and then the last 2 seasons happened. This is the first thing they have done since then, and it is also an adaptation of a book, I believe a Chinese book, that is really, really well received. I know, Jose, you've read it and you're a big fan of it. This has come out. I had heard that they were doing something for Netflix. I didn't know what it was. I have never seen a trailer. I have not seen anything from a marketing standpoint, despite the fact that they spent $20 million an episode on this show. The only thing that has ever cost more was the newest season of Stranger Things, which was at 30 million. This is just, of course, like what you're reading online. And then apparently House of the Dragon cost 20 million an episode as well. So one of the most expensive episodes or seasons of television ever. I have no idea that this is on. I have not seen any. In LA, you see marketing everywhere. You see billboards, you see buses. Haven't seen anything for it. And the thing also on top of this is Netflix has a huge history of canceling their shows. You think of things like Sense8. You think of things like 1899. Like Sense8 is from the Wachowskis. Like they're the directors of The Matrix. 1899 is from the people that do Dark. You look at like how they've completely bastardized The Witcher. Like hired people that actively did not care about the books or the games, and just like to the point where Henry Cavill like just hated working on it. This is to me kind of alarming. Like this, it just seems like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to spend this much money. How is this not like blown up everywhere? And how did like, I think it speaks to kind of Netflix as a whole. I don't think this is just for TV. I think for their movies as well, that you see this where they just kind of come and go, and there's no hype that is built for them. What do y'all think?
I think this is more of this like it'll eventually, if their adaptation is good, and from what I've heard, just like talking to friends and family who have also read the book and are starting to watch the show, it seems like it's actually a pretty faithful and pretty solid adaptation. But given that the book is, I feel like it is relatively unknown. Like it's definitely a sci-fi book, and it's a tome. It is thick, and it's a 3-part trilogy with 2 extra pieces on it. I know President Obama like gave it a stamp of approval when it first came out originally. And there was at least in the copy that I have, there are a bunch of like quotes, typical book marketing quotes like "This book's great, this book's fantastic." Um, and yeah, the book was great, but a lot of the content is very science fiction heavy, and so I feel like if you're not able to market that correctly, you can kind of like just ruin the idea of what it is. Like, so minor spoilers for Three Body and the Three Body Problem. There are these beings who, in order to survive a harsh weather conditions, dehydrate. And then in the book, it's this visceral kind of like, description of how they dehydrate. And then similarly, when they rehydrate, it is a very detailed like process, and very like it's gross to think about this being like rehydrating and reanimating, right? And just so, how can you market that without making it sound hella nerdy or just like really off-putting, you know? Um, and yeah, it is also a book that was written in Chinese and then translated for Western audiences. So how much of that can you really spin without people kind of like raising an eyebrow even in 2024?
My thought is that my question is what is happening on the books side of things?
How
And
do you
the only
how do you mean?
like the um and that can go a lot of different ways. So thank you. Uh Money, taxes. And I think about like, we never got that Batgirl. We never got Coyote versus Acme. Um and Warner Brothers got to turn those into tax write-offs. I'm wondering if there is some way that they can cook the books to pump a lot of money into certain projects and then like get that back somehow. Because it doesn't make sense, to your point, Dylan, to put so much money to be the most expensive series of television or one of, and have no marketing. Like I didn't know about it until it was already out, and even still, I think the most I've learned about it happened just now from Jose.
Same, same. And I think like to me that's a problem if three people who are like very much into like film and TV, if we haven't heard about it, like what are the chances that then like the greater audience has heard about it? There's a chance, like for whatever reason, whatever the like algorithm is that's like not kicking it to us, but like very rarely I feel like are people necessarily being like, oh, have you heard about this show, or oh, have you heard about this movie? I might not know everything about it, but I'll at least be like, oh yeah, that's like it's this about this, or it's that about that. Like I'll at least have a very small understanding of something that has recently been released, most likely just because like it comes across on the feed. Like I've at least seen a title card or a bit of a trailer or something.
Right.
It's weird that we haven't seen anything about it, I feel.
And I mean, like, we, to that point, even we're into, it's not even just that we're into this world of like cinema and like TV and stuff. We're also into sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like the algorithm should have pumped that to us first. And like, and I can say on my social media stuff and like ads, I may have seen two ads and I watched them. I still did not know what was happening or get any real sense of what was going on. I think it might have been like some 6 second like quick teases that wasn't honestly even enough to entice me to want to learn more. Now I'll admit I don't, unless there's a specific film or like show I'm going to watch on Netflix. I'm not just opening it up just to see what's there. So maybe that is popping up on a lot of people's splash pages and they're getting views that way, or maybe it's they've worked the algorithm so it's the this is probably how they're doing it. Work the algorithm so it's the first autoplay after you finish a movie or whatever series. So when you're done with your thing, they cue that up, and then they can fudge numbers. I'm trying to just figure out what Ocean's 11 numbers heist thing are they doing to make this worth the stupid amounts of money they put into it.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm trying
maybe
to.
very much like how, sorry to cut you off, Jose. Very, very much like how Danny forgot about the Iron Fleet. Maybe Netflix just kind of forgot to market their $200 million show.
I'm thinking they're maybe doing like a reverse viral marketing, if that makes any sense. Because maybe because I've actively looked for this content after reading the books, or the one book, because they're fucking tomes. When I tell you they're thick, they're fucking thick. Is this the third one?
Is it 900 pages of a masterpiece?
No, that's Dune.
This is the third one.
That's
This
big.
is the third one.
That's a lot.
The
That
third
is,
That's a
one
murder
is,
weapon, is what that is.
Dune.
The third one is 600 pages. The third
Yeah.
book.
Damn.
The second book is like 500 or so, and the first book, the smallest of them, is around like 500, 400 pages.
And
But
you can't, for the people that are listening, that was a big book. It wasn't like a little teeny book.
This
It's
is like an inch and a half.
Yeah.
But so I saw during some football game, I do forget which one. it wasn't the Super Bowl. It was like a couple games, I think, during the playoffs. There was like one of those trailer starts in 3, 2, 1 for Three Body. I do forget when that came out, but I was super hyped and I was watching the game just to watch the trailer. Um, and then I think the second trailer dropped, and then it just nothing else really came out of it. But on Twitter, or at least my Twitter, I've been seeing now that it's been out, kind of like clips, or like the Netflix admin has been, I guess, trying to tell people to watch it, because it's been like, I can't believe I just saw episode 5 of the Three Body Problem, or they post clips of like screenshots from in the book, pretty like impressive feats of technology. Like, I don't want to spoil too much about what they're talking about. Um, and then this one that I'm thinking about that might be reverse my viral marketing is that apparently, I guess over in Europe, they had a bunch of ads, Netflix ads, that just had text say, "You are bugs," or "You are insects." And so there was a clip of like a drone show, and then the drones just fall, and then it says, "You are insects," or "You are bugs," or like a London Underground like ad is playing, and then it cuts to that. And so, oh man, I can't get into it without a minor spoiler for it, but there are forces at large influencing Earth, and that could be sort of, or the marketing is meant to parallel what they do
That's cool.
here in the book, but I haven't seen any of the actual viral marketing for that. I've only seen the compilation clip that the Netflix admin like posted on Twitter. So there is also this secret society, like quote unquote secret society, or like this sort of underground, like if you know you know kind of faction in the book. So that's where I'm thinking it's like a unviral marketing, where it's like if you know you know, and then like you'll really enjoy it, but at the same time, how do you make money off of it if no one's watching it?
I think that works if you're like Taylor Swift. I don't know if that works if you're adapting like a Chinese book. It's one of those things.
A
Maybe that
more
might work in like
niche
China, where
property.
there's like,
Yeah.
3 times as many people as there are here in this country. But like, at least in the States, like if not that many people have read the book, 'cause I think it's a relatively new book too. It's like, I don't know if it's
So
going to have that same effect when you're spending that kind of money.
funny enough, there is already a Chinese series called Three Body Problem. It's on Peacock, and I think it's I think
What's
it's
the
just done.
problem? That's
I'm looking up the release date. The book came out in 2008. That's
I
pretty
mean,
old.
I feel like most books are not, but like most books are not like super quick adaptations. Like sometimes you have the Twilights or like the Hunger Games, but a lot of times it's like older stuff that's getting, adapted.
I'd say this is in the sweet spot. Maybe a little on the older side, but from whenever it like had its initial hype, because 2008.
Well,
Yeah, so
fine.
I think Jose's right on this one. No, I'm kidding.
You're kidding? You're not gonna say I'm right? Okay.
Oh gosh, I'm not saying Dylan's wrong, which is also a rarity.
Do you want to talk about Godzilla?
I want to
Let's
talk about
talk
Godzilla.
about. I'm going to talk about Kong.
Sure. Yeah, that's probably what we're going to talk about a lot. Okay, so just kind of give you the rundown. We're going to do all this is going to be timestamped in the show notes. We're going to talk about Godzilla vs Kong, the New Empire. First part of it is going to be spoiler free. Then we're going to talk about spoilers. All of us have seen it this weekend. Vaughn and I saw it like almost like an hour apart from each other.
I looked for you out in front of the theater, by the way.
Dang, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't if you didn't see me. Although I think his name's Tim Robbins from I think you should leave. He was at your screening. Someone
What?
posted a photo on AMC A List of like, yeah, just walked out of Godzilla vs Kong at Burbank, and he was right here. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. What'd y'all think?
Peak cinema.
Peak.
Peak cinema.
Alrighty.
I was okay before we jump
fiction.
all the way into that. Jose says peak cinema for quite a few things, and it's becoming a plane. It's becoming a plateau of cinema.
It's just more of like, hey, like, how are you doing? And you just say good. It's just like, oh, how's the movie? Peak cinema. Anyways, the issues that I had, and it's like that's basically where we're at.
I'm sorry for having a good time.
I don't have a problem if you had a
Yeah.
good time. You're allowed to.
I'll say this again, just giving the context for myself. I know we've had a chance to get deeper into Jose's brain around grading and scale on how the lens we're looking at these films through. Quick reminder: the After School Cinema Club. It's the subject. What class are we in? So this is the class of kaiju monster movie, which means for me the criteria I'm looking for: big monster go punch. Did the big monster go punch? Yeah, it did. So I'll say I had a good time. Um, Going more like deeper into the plot, I don't know enough about, and I know it's a very rich, deep lore around Godzilla and Ghidorah and Mothra and like the whole gang of them. I don't know enough to like catch. I could see when there were callbacks. I could even you sometimes can feel it in the theater when like they mention a name and some the guy 3 rows behind you goes
Yeah.
so it felt like it had a decent amount of the fan service that the dedicated fans are looking for. For me, it almost felt like I was like, we're grasping at straws here. I feel like we're stringing together this plot to get to the part where big monster go punch,
I
and
agree.
I don't need all that because
I
I'm just
agree.
here for the big monster to go punch.
So I like in John Wick where they build these worlds, and it's a thing that I think that they tried to do in here, and some parts of it worked, but also like some of it was the writing was I really struggled with, and I'm not really going to say anything else in the non-spoilery section. It's not bad. It's not like this movie is bad. This movie is exactly what it's meant to be. This movie is a bunch of monsters fighting. I wanted more of that and less talking, and it that's the thing that for me is there were some parts of it where I was like, oh, this is awesome, and then it just kind of felt like it came and went. So those were just the only like it's if you like Godzilla movies, if you like the Kong movies, you are going to like this movie. It's not like this is not what that is. For me, I was like, okay, are they going to be able to take it a next level up? Because I thought Godzilla versus Kong was excellent, but to me, this wasn't that. It was enjoyable. It was passable on a kaiju scale. I'd honestly give this movie like a C or C plus. Really, like I really was not like crazy about this movie.
To supplement your point, by the way, and this is a very light spoiler, I saw a tweet that talked about the runtime of how long we see Godzilla in each of the films in this franchise. And we see Godzilla the least in this film. We see
Yeah, I
Godzilla
bet
for
absolutely. Yeah, this
eight
is
minutes,
this is
a
a Kong
total of
movie.
8 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a Kong movie that has Godzilla like briefly in it. Spoilers.
I mean, I'm about it. To not speak too much into the spoilers of it. I mean, it was peak fiction, dude. Like you have this crazy underground world that's been existing for millennia. You have these people, these monsters who live, these guardians of Earth, basically. At least the way that they're framed,
Should
right? You
we
have
should we start saying that we're going into spoilers now?
my
Not
okay.
just yet. I have one more small point to make before we
Okay.
dive fully in.
Minor
And I
spoilers
guess,
for the relative plot. Then, if I could, when I continue my point, I think
please.
the fact that you can have both of these worlds, no pun intended, like the deep world and then just the monster go boom, the fighting, is what 21st century filmmaking should be. It should be a CGI monkey fighting a CGI lizard over like cities and destruction and like just letting your imagination go wild and letting the animators just have fun with it. It was fun. It was a fun movie, and there was a lot of drag. It did drag when it came to like the world building, but I for one, Dylan mentioned Elden Ring before. Like, yeah, there's a lot of environmental storytelling. There's a lot of lore building. There's a lot of world building that I hope they will eventually cash out on because these movies are not going to stop. Uh, at the
Definitely
time
not.
of recording, I think it made 194 million worldwide, the biggest
Yeah.
opening of the year so far. Um, it's peak fiction. Give me animators. If it ultimately ends up going full circle and we have people in mocap suits like doing WWE moves, and then they animate the monsters on top of it to
We already
call
got
back to
that.
minor spoilers, but to call back like the original people in suits as they were like
Yeah.
very goofy. If you can give me fully mocapped people in animated as these monsters doing these crazy things, that's mind blown. Best movie ever.
Yeah, I mean we do get again, not spoiler, we do get a monster suplex, which I was like, yes,
That got a pop.
hell
out of me.
yes,
That got a pop out of
hell
me. I was
yeah.
yeah. That was awesome.
But for me, because kaiju movies aren't really my thing, the fun kind of parallel that I was noticing between this and one of the trends that I was seeing happen over on TikTok is TikTok was doing Gotham Talk, where people were posting as if they lived in Gotham City.
That's hilarious.
And they're talking casually about like, everybody's talking about it's so bad to live here, but you know what? I have a 2-story loft and my rent is $500. So you know what? Yes, the water supply is poisoned every 2 weeks, but like I can still like live safely. Or another person's posting like, are we gonna ever talk about how Batman's always with these young kids? Like, what's that about? Where's he finding these children? But it brings this like sort of fictional element to life. And then they're like, people were like talking about Gotham versus Metropolis, and like Metropolis is like obviously like a New York City like analog.
New York,
So,
Chicago.
Right, like the just crazy amounts of rent, and like my entire building got destroyed, and Superman tossed my Honda Civic and he missed, and I now I have no car. Like, it's been hysterical. But the parallel I saw here is just, and I get that like this is maybe the point because they're kaijus and they're so big and they don't care, but I'm like, what's the death count in this movie just on like the monsters getting from point A to point B? Like, we're just full structures collapsing. I'm watching several
Infrastructure just infrastructure is decimated in many countries.
World significantly cultural locations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, where do you move? Where can you safely live in this world? And like know that your house is going to be there tomorrow.
Take me to Hollow Earth at this point.
No.
Nah, bro, because everything in Hollow Earth is what we have here, but also 20 times bigger.
Yeah, pretty much.
And this is, I think, in the trailer, but a tree ate a guy. Like,
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was crazy.
And I guess we can use that as our segue into
spoilers.
Yeah. Things.
I love the suplex. I loved the suplex.
The suplex was the best part of the movie.
Amazing.
Absolutely. I really, really enjoyed that the monsters were still behaving like animal-like. You can see there's clearly an intelligence there, but I found myself in all of this stuff, especially with Kong and did he? I don't know if he ever got a name. Well, not the Scar King. The light skin monkey. Yeah, Baby Kong. Let's go with that. Baby
Donkey
Kong.
Kong Jr.
I was gonna say Diddy Kong.
Diddy Kong. So Kong and Diddy Kong, right? Just all of their interactions, and even as we get towards like when there's just many kaiju like around each other, they're interacting and they're engaging, and I'm following exactly. And I'm like, I love that they're not like feeling the need to feed us lines and like give us exactly what the sentiment is, because I'm clearly picking it up, and I'm like, I'm doing the lines in my head of like, okay, yeah, he's saying that. Oh no, we have to go this way. No, you can trust me. It's okay. I'm just gonna get me a drink of water, and it's totally fine. And we're just gonna splish splash because that's what we do in this part of deep Earth. It's okay. I do need to take a load off, and then like giant serpent comes out.
Yeah.
I loved that part, at least they didn't have to hold our hands with. And I love that we kind of got a similar thing with the secret culture that was like deep in there, that like this culture, that everybody's psychic and they just kind of communicate. And even though you're using a lot of words because you are like panicky, Brian Tyree Henry, uh,
Who's
they
amazing, by the
still
way.
he's so incredible. Yale graduate.
Shout
Uh,
out.
Shout out one of Davine Joy Randolph's colleagues, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah, I just love that the need to speak did like they didn't feel the need to push that for us for the narrative. That really helped it, I think, gel a little bit more and helped the pacing, honestly, because a lot of what slowed it down was, and like, forgive me, was is it Rebecca? What is her last
Rebecca
name?
Hall.
Hall, Rebecca
Yeah.
Hall. I felt like in that mom role and having all that concern that she has, I it just felt too frantic and like she's signing and she's trying to communicate. A lot of it felt a little overdone to me.
Yeah, it's such an interesting dichotomy of like how good the not necessarily. I mean, it kind of is nonverbal, but yeah, like basically the nonverbal communication or the non like speaking communication is between either the kaiju's or the characters that are mute, um, versus how fucking bad the dialogue is. It's just really bad. Like it's just really really bad, and it doesn't make sense that like you can communicate that human emotion with all of these other things or this animalistic emotion with all of these things. And then when it comes to actually writing, it's just like a total whiff.
I mean, to your point, it's not about the writing. It's not about the people. It's not about fucking Monarch and their plots to,
Yeah, but care.
monopolize. No, I'm there to
John Wick
watch.
cares.
John Wick is a different movie, though. John Wick is not a fucking 100 foot tall lizard with atomic breath. Like this movie is monkey go boom. He has an axe, he has an Iron Man gauntlet, he has a titanium fucking tooth. Like this, you're not watching
So
it to
badass.
you're not gonna watch this to dissect the moral grays between Monarch, the corporation, and how they're like.
I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking for like the Trade Federation version of Godzilla versus Kong. I just want like the actual, like they clearly gave a shit about so many pieces. Like the kaiju's are the best characters in these movies. They clearly care a lot about all of that. I'm not asking for the same level of care. I'm asking for literally a level of care. I'm asking for a level of care for the dialogue between the humans, especially because this movie, there's less fighting in this movie than I feel like in almost any of the other movies that I've seen. This movie,
Godzilla 1, there was no fighting in Godzilla 1.
okay, fine. The first movie 10 years ago might have had a little bit less than it, but like this is just not Godzilla's irrelevant in this movie. It should not be called Godzilla versus Kong. It should just be called Kong the New Empire, and then Godzilla is like very briefly in it. And then they build up the Scar King. Terrible name. Terrible fucking name. And that's a new character, by the way. I looked that up. So they chose that name. They make it seem like this other character is going to be a badass when they show these eyes, and instead it's like he's a puppy. Like he basically acts like a fucking dog. It was really cool when he was riding him like into battle. That was really cool. But then he's like it all of those little, it just like I wasn't as interested in that stuff.
Wait.
You
think the Scar King was
do you think the
Shiba?
Scar? Yeah.
No, Scar King was the orangutan. Who I thought was kind of cool, but also like dies really quickly, and like the fight wasn't that long. It's not much of a fight, and we're supposed to find out that like, oh, Godzilla barely took these guys out the first time, and now like 1,000 years later, or like a million years, probably like a million years later, they like wipe the floor with him super quick. They take care of him in Rio de Janeiro super quickly. That fight is very short, and it was weird. It was like, oh, we don't have enough money, and they didn't, because this movie has like 50 million less budget than the last one did.
So dare I say, I wrote this down in my notes for this movie. There is going to be a Kong x Godzilla rematch, because yes, to your point, in the lore of like in that village, that it was written in stone that this was such a tremendous battle that Godzilla basically like could barely win. And then with Kong, now basically they both just kind of got over it. There's 100% going to be a rematch between Kong and Godzilla because they make it such a point for Kong to have these new tools. Like they make it a point that he has this vibranium tooth, that he has his Iron Man gauntlet, that he has his axe that he made out of the scale from the last movie. Like there are so many more equipments added to Kong that when they inevitably fight again, it's going to be that much more of like oh shit, Godzilla powered up, but he barely even used it. So there's 100%. I'm gonna put my money down on this. There's 100% gonna be a rematch with Kong using all of these new tools to fight the big bad of Godzilla. And
Go gadget.
dare I say it, Godzilla's gonna lose. I'm sorry to say it, Godzilla's gonna lose.
That's
As a Godzilla fan, Godzilla's gonna lose.
They might do it in one movie, then to have a third movie, but like I actually physically don't think that like they will allow that to happen. Like the people that own the like IP, my guess is they're like, this isn't gonna
Like, yeah,
happen.
Godzilla, I think, has a similar contract to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, where he like
Yeah.
is not allowed to lose.
And it's also it's just like he's a walking nuclear bomb. And Kong is a big monkey. And so
And I'm gonna stop you right there. First and foremost, because y'all said it 3 times, and I think I co-signed it once. Kong is an ape. He is an ape. That is a difference. It does matter. Second of all, once you go boom, like, and we've seen, we're talking about this movie, not the last movies. It's a fair fight. It is a fair fight. It is a fair fight because Kong is smarter than Godzilla and more agile. And even though he doesn't have a gun for a mouth, he is still capable.
He has a gun for a heart.
He lost. He lost the previous rounds. He lost.
Watch your mouth.
Godzilla's 2-1. Godzilla's 2-1.
I think
that's all I'm
to
saying.
your point, though. To your point, Jose, I think what we're seeing is the evolution, which is kind of why I wanted to bring up the ape thing again. That like, because in his first sequence, Kong sets that trap for all those like weird giant wolf things, and I think now that he has like, and he like built that tool of the axe, and now he's getting the help. Like, so he's got this metal gauntlet and a titanium tooth. I think we're gonna just see him use that tech. I think that we'll see all of them kind of work together, and like they're gonna for sure build a progressive society, where we become the kaijus, and then Attack on Titan. That's a crossover. I don't know.
Oh, Pacific Rim
or Pacific Rim. I like both.
We get
like
the guy
both.
from Avatar who's like
Jake
with
Sully?
the thing or whatever. Yeah, no, the bad guy, the Emmerich, or the one they brought back for the second movie. God, those movies are bad. Anyways, yeah, I don't like. I did y'all really think that like that final battle to me was a letdown? It was so quick. It was so quick.
I wanted more because of the buildup in a lot of different ways. I did want a lot more. Specifically, the work they did to disrupt the gravity. I thought it was kind of cool, but a little disorienting at times with them floating from rock to rock and like bashing each other's faces in. But yeah, I wanted more. I wanted that to be more of a mechanic. Like, okay, we've like reset the gravity this one time, and now like we're disoriented. Maybe as soon as like the Scar King, like I needed the Scar King and Sheba to like make their way towards the portal, and Kong and Godzilla do like a fastball special alley oop to reset the gravity again to disrupt them, and so like to make the stakes of them getting to the portal a little bit stronger. So that, and that does, prolong it so that once we do get to Rio, they can do some more things, some more cool things to prolong the fight a little bit more. I agree.
Yeah, you're right, Dylan. The fight could have been better.
It just could have been longer. It just could have been longer.
Yeah. I think maybe in the original fight, because I want to talk about going back to the nonverbal dialogue when Kong shows up and they have like this whole sequence where like they're just speaking or they're yelling at each other, and you know exactly what they're saying. And then when the Scar King like rolls up and he has like this swagger to him, and like you know exactly what he's saying, he's pointing to him, you know what he's laughing at. um and like that fight was fierce, but if the fight was a bit more visceral, I feel like you maybe would have understood the scaling of it all. Like I understand that that fight, I guess, is meant to show Shiba like the the secret weapon, the fact that the end of his little whip is like glowing, um, and that would then set up why Kong has the metal arm. If as opposed to it being a gauntlet, it was an actual replacement, and the Scar King like ripped it off, like cut it off completely. I think that would have been more menacing because you would have been like, "Holy shit!" This guy just like mutilated Kong. This guy is actually like some sort of menace, even though there's this extra thing that's meant to be like another plot device. Um, showing how fearful he really is. Because again, the fact that they mention it in like the ancient glyphs gives me some sort of perspective of like, damn, this was such a big event that they had to write it down. But then, ultimately, as soon as he loses his whip, there's like no real fight that comes along
He's
with it.
useless.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
useless. If they would have shown him fighting Kong without the whip in the lava world, that would have been a bit more enticing. But that last climax was just going after the ice shard, which I don't think they ever explained. Is that a piece of Shiba? Is that a piece of her, of it? Or is that just like another
It's
crystal?
got some kind of power over.
I assumed my first thought was that it was a part of Shiva. I assumed then once they did the gravity thing that it was like a part of that original energy crystal that like has like that can
Mm,
reverberate and
Mm,
thus like send that signal because that was the same signal that caused Godzilla to like freak out and go from place to place
mm,
anyway. So it's like a micro dog whistle version of it.
mm. I like that.
also, just as an aside, Godzilla sleeping in the Coliseum is
I
really
love
cool.
it. I
That
love
was
it.
so cool. I was
He's
upset
a
that he
cat.
broke it. I was really mad about that.
I hated it.
What?
Really?
Again, just the world building aspect of it. I'm like, you killed no less than 100,000 people to get here, and now you're just
Fair.
gonna sleep in the city. And then when it's time for you to go to the next thing, like I need Godzilla to like you need to live in the mountainside, like
Not a care in the world. Just destroying
just death.
ancient history.
I
Just
love it. I love it. He's a big cat. He's a big cat just sleeping in his little cat bed. When he wakes up, he'll wake up and just like destroy things. He doesn't care. He's fucking Godzilla. Now he's pink. It was Hema's favorite part when he turned
also
pink.
that poor frozen sea dragon was doing nothing. Was minding its own goddamn business. And then Godzilla went into this thing's house, killed it, and then took its energy. That was so rude.
That's
I
Godzilla,
bet
bro.
I'm willing to bet that was a reshoot, as much as reshoots can be, because when they saw the budget they had, they were like, okay, this last fight can't be too long. We need Godzilla to be crazy strong, so we'll do another fight, and then that'll explain why this fight doesn't have to be that long. Why Godzilla can just like whoop his ass really quick.
But if Godzilla's already king of the monsters and already killed, was it Ghidorah, right? That's the three-headed dragon.
Hmm.
And like everyone bowed to him at the end of that movie. Spoilers for Godzilla King of the Monsters if you haven't seen it.
Wait, he
Why
wound up
is
being king of the
anyone
monsters?
why is anyone still trying to like fuck with him?
It's a
Why would you be like,
territorial thing,
Yeah.
right? Because he's an animal. They're animals,
yeah, well, they
or
like
maybe
literally
yeah.
bow to him. They're like,
I mean, I would assume that because the only other monster besides the ice one we see is that like spider crab, um, that spider crab thing, which is actually a spider because it shoots web, but it's a crab because it has like the crab legs, which doesn't make sense to me. um, I feel like that spider crab was just like, I don't know, lost, because it sounds like Godzilla's domain is like above Earth, and so if this like other kaiju shows up on Earth, um, predominantly on land or in connection to some sort of land, Godzilla gets pissed and it shows up just to kill it. So Yeah, the fact that that spider crab showed up, um, I guess Godzilla is a territorial beast. He is the king of the monsters. He understands that this is his domain, and anybody who crosses his domain is going to get wrecked. And he just went to go conquer Antarctica or the North Pole to suck up this other beast who could potentially be better than him. Although that beast only lives in the water. So, like, yeah, Dylan, I get it's rude, but come on, man, it's Godzilla. What are you
And
gonna
like,
do?
like if we just take the three of us, if Dylan, if you're king of the monsters and I bend the knee, that doesn't mean that Jose also bent the knee. So Jose
Fair.
might not know. He might,
True.
hit your block, and you're like, "I told you I'm king of the monsters." She's like, "Whoa, bro, I
Yeah.
don't even know you." And now Jose's
Yeah.
dead.
Mhm.
No Wi-Fi in the North Pole. I get you.
Probably not.
Maybe
I,
Starlink.
I did want to touch on two things as well for things that I liked. Again, I had a list. Um, I liked that it was a lot more violent. I know we talked about the suplex, but we talk like there's a dude in that spider crab fight who's literally just running away, and the spider crab just like fucking spikes him down specifically, or like the opening shot of him like ripping the wolf above his head was so visceral. The blood was green, which is why they got away with it. But man, if that was like red, that would have been insane. These monsters are so visceral in their like just rampage that I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
He picks up that baby monkey and you fucking whack him.
He's the Hulk. It's like the Hulk with Loki. Like he's just throwing him
Just
around.
fucking throwing him and whipping him, and yeah, it was just I love that. I love
And
it.
when
Give
he
me
like
more.
he saves the other monkey, like trying to
Yeah.
show like I'm like a good guy, and then he still attacks him. He just like fucking sends him off the
fine. All right, that's not gonna work then.
Yeah.
I also loved like the moment watching him. Oh, right, it's a holiday, so
Easter fireworks. Welcome to LA.
You know how it goes. I loved just watch after he like killed the unagi, and they're just like sitting, just eating sushi effectively, and it just looks so raw, and like you felt the power and prowess of these animals. It reminds you like these are animals. They're communicating effectively, but these are for sure animals. It's so good. And I hated, for in a good way, I hated the that light skinned green eyed ape. I hated him so much. Diddy Kong, I hated him so much, and I really did not know if we could trust him at the very end, and I appreciate that we could. But I love that I even had that question.
I was upset. I was upset, which I think is the point. You're meant to be. The other two things I really liked. One, the sand in the eye. That was great.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The fact that like kaijus are use tricks that like humans do,
Just as
like
petty.
that, I loved it. I thought that was so good. And the podcast ad with the kaiju insurance, which definitely is like, there's no chance that insurance company is going to follow through on any of that. But that was also awesome. Brian, like it's very much like a cliched character, but Brian Tyree Henry is very good. That was an unbelievable job.
I was hoping that they would do like a Dragon Ball Z, Godzilla versus the Shiba, just like and the two beams. Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? That would have been fun. That's what I'm saying.
Were so many missed opportunities in that fight.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this movie is gonna make a shit ton of money. They're clearly not gonna stop. Let's get to the point where we hire like these WWE guys to put on a mocap suit and just like go at it. Like we got the suplex, that was great. Can I get Godzilla hitting him with the RKO? Can I get an attitude adjustment? Can I get these moves just to like level a city, like a Dragon Ball Z style, just like city's flat. It cuts to the wide shot and it's flat. It's destroyed. And both monsters are like super tired, but
out of breath.
Out of
Yeah.
breath. Yeah.
Jose wants millions dead. Jose
Yeah.
if you even do the Dragon Ball Z or like the Superman thing, you issue like an evacuation warning, and then you say it like, oh, what about the city? Oh, everyone left like a while ago, so like this is like the flat ground that they can go ahead and fight. No one's gonna get hurt, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of warnings, there for sure should have been an epilepsy warning in this movie. No, that
For like when they go
sequence.
down to
Yeah, the
the
sequence when they
gravity
go
well.
into Hollow Earth. I was like, am I about to seize? This feels like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like not in a. I feel like that's kind of expected going into any.
Yeah.
I mean, almost any movie, let alone an action movie. But I do hear you that like, hey, there's going to be some intense shit that's about to happen.
Yeah, I just feel like the flashes and the light. It was especially quick and especially rapid. But yeah,
I loved it.
overall,
Peak fiction.
good. And I just to talk a little bit more about what I would have wanted, because they tip it off in the beginning about Kong's intelligence, and we know that the Scar King has been effective as a tyrant, effectively a dictator with all the other apes. Because he's an orangutan and clearly then has a longer reach than Kong, I wanted to see that be like, okay, once he
It's like a
loses the whip
box.
and he loses the ice
Mhm.
shard, yeah, like
Yeah,
I've got the reach, so I'm gonna like do things or like effectively like parry or dodge, because this is like what, just like mano y mano, what I have access to.
nah, he just got his shit rocked as soon as he didn't have that thing.
Which I guess
Or
speaks to like his over reliance on it as a
Yeah,
tool.
I'm asking even now. Maybe minor spoilers for Attack on Titan, but like a Zeke homage where he picks up rocks and just fucking chucks it with his long hand. You know, you guys haven't seen Attack on Titan? Never mind. For the audience
No,
who has,
they're
if
with
you could
you.
have picked up
I
some
am not.
rocks and crushed them and then threw them, and never mind. You got to watch it. I take
big
it back.
naked man, right?
No, he's a monkey.
Oh.
Ape monkey
Oh,
beast. They call him the Beast Titan. So he's a
with
monkey
the weird
with
mouth thing,
glasses.
with the tendon mouth thing. No.
No, he's got glasses. He's literally looks like a monkey. He looks like an orangutan. He's even got like
Okay.
the arms, the long arms. But he's a big baseball guy. So his like special move is that he picks up rocks and he crushes them and he chucks them, and it's just like so
Barry Bonds.
devastating.
Hell yeah.
Is that the? Was that the ep?
Oh
Do we
well,
give it ratings?
yeah. Now we rate it.
I'm gonna go with a C plus, or like if we're gonna, I'll do C plus on the letter grade scale. I'll do like a -4 on the parabola scale.
It doesn't have to be a parabola. That's maybe the last time I'll say it, but I hear you. For me, I will give it. Uh, um, I'll give it a solid B. And there's the opportunity to bump that up to an A minus if I can get more of a better final scene with the Scar King being a smarter, a more capable fighter.
On the scale though.
Oh, I have to do the scale.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll give it I guess like a negative, or like an absolute. I'll give it an absolute 7, maybe 6. I'll give it an absolute 6.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with Vaughn. Both of those I think perfectly capture my feelings for this movie. It's a solid B. I think it was weaker than Godzilla versus Kong. If Godzilla versus Kong was like a B plus, this is like a solid B. And while on the scale, yeah, like a -7, -7.5, like it's not well written. Yeah, it's not a quote unquote good movie, but it was a blast. I saw this in IMAX. Man, was that an amazing IMAX movie for sure.
Saw it in Dolby and it was unbelievable. Like literally, like
Ooh,
seat
Yeah,
shaking the entire time. Like just awesome. And
yeah.
even
I'm a
like just
huge
from a
Dolby
review
advocate.
standpoint, it's like 20% less than Godzilla versus Kong. It's like Godzilla versus Kong is like a 76 on Rotten Tomatoes, and then this thing's like a 55.
Talking about audience
Which
or critics?
now audience I think is much higher on the new Empire, which I just feel like because it's new, which I think is weird. I don't know how the audience score for this movie could be higher than Godzilla versus Kong, unless it's just like the weirdos who are upset that Kong lost. Sorry, Vaughn.
Because like you just say my name, like
So you're a Kong guy? You're a King Kong guy, Vaughn?
I
I
am.
wish do we have time to speak on this
We
on
can
our
unpack it. We can
allegiances?
unpack it.
I guess just story wise, because that's always going to be my lens. Maybe that's the actor in me. Um, I can appreciate a guy minding his business and then is uprooted and is just finding his way, and like that's Kong's journey. He's just finding his way every step. And I appreciate, he thought he was alone, and then we see, now he's got like a literally a community at the end of this. But um yeah, like in the idea of like in the verses, yeah, Kong is obviously the underdog. He doesn't have an atomic breath weapon. He's not he can't recharge with nuclear energy. That's OP, which is cool, and also cinematically stunning to see happen. But I'm gonna always root for the guy that like has to outsmart that kind of power. Kong all the day, all the day, all the way, and all the day, and all of it. Go Kong.
There has to be a one-liner where they're gonna have to call him King Kong at one point. I thought they were gonna say it once he like liberated the other apes. Like, oh, this is the king of the apes. He is King Kong. But
Mm.
in the rematch, when Godzilla, the king of the monsters, fights King Kong and loses, I think he'll be named King Kong. But I could see your point. Although I feel like the Kong in this MonsterVerse is different than the traditional story of King Kong.
Yeah.
Um, I can get your side of it, but just big lizard, big breath, like oof. I'm sorry.
They also do refer to Godzilla as the king in
Yeah.
in King of the Monsters, because like one of the humans is like, "Long live the king," and then like Godzilla just like goes off like crazy. Yeah, I also this is gonna be a hot take. I don't really necessarily mean it to be. Well, the first thing, and
He's
this
Team
isn't a hot
Mothra.
take. No, Mothra was I was so that was so boring. I like could not care less about that character.
I want to care more about Mothra. I'm a Mothra fan, but I want to be justified in being a fan.
It would have been cooler if they were a giant bee instead of a giant moth. Moths aren't imposing.
You get Beefra,
Anyways,
Queen
yeah,
Bee.
yeah,
No,
literally.
that's Beyonce.
Um,
Mothra is a
That's right.
classic.
I know Mothra's a classic. I know like that. It was really rough to watch this after seeing Godzilla minus one. Godzilla minus one is such a better movie. And that was like one little thing. The other thing too, this is a hot take. What I was saying was I watched Ricky Snicky last night, and that is a better movie than Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. I like that movie more.
I don't think you like goofy movies, dude. When we do the Fast and Furious rewatch, we're gonna unpack this. Godzilla minus one and Godzilla X Kong are two different movies in two different like categories, ballparks, time zones, worlds. Like they're just completely unrelated. The fact that they share a protagonist or an antagonist like doesn't mean you have to group them together. I think that they can both exist as great pieces of cinema, which is why, hey, another point for the parabola, because you can have Godzilla minus one be a positive 8.5, positive 9. It's an amazing human story, but this is a negative 7.5. This is a great, just goofy, turn my brain off movie, right? We touched on it with Fast and Furious again. Bring this up. Uh, they're cargo fast, cargo boom. That's all I'm in for. That's all that's going to happen. There's going to be races, there's going to be cars, there's going to be explosions. I love it.
Sign me
Going
up.
into a MonsterVerse movies, we're going to see monsters fight. We're not going to see the emotional struggle that Kong has to now manage an empire, or Godzilla woke up with like a hangover. We're not going to see that. That's just not going to happen.
Although to soft pitch for the next movie, I do want to see a moment where Kong is like frustrated with his people, and he's like, what he's gonna do. I guess we get Rebecca Hall's character in to do the sign language so that we can like get the language behind it. And I'm like, but Kong, you can't go back up there. Godzilla's the king. And then Kong is like, no, he's a tyrant. I'm the king. Jumps to the portal.
Damn.
And that's for free. Y'all get that one for free.
Give him his screenplay credit now, y'all.
I want to see
just,
Kong on a desk with his head in his hands, like, oh, I can't do this. There's so much stress. He pours out a whiskey on the rocks.
He's like putting up like election signs in front of their like huts so like they can vote for him in the next like governor election.
God, this civilization advanced fast. Not in the best ways.
There's like a Fox News and an MSNBC, and it's just like
no subtitles though. No subtitles.
No subtitles are taking our jobs, and it's just like these.
One's wearing a blue tie, one's wearing a red tie, and that's all you need to know.
That's all. That's literally all we need. Or would they do like green somehow because the blood's all green? I don't know.
Oh,
we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, silly ties, advanced civilization, make Kong say that Godzilla's a tyrant and he's a king, and that's my A+. Immediately, you don't owe me anything else aside from Monster Go Punch, but you don't owe me anything else.
I want to see an RKO
out of nowhere.
I want to see an RKO.
Oh, also, next episode will be right after WrestleMania. I can't wait.
Ooh, nice.
Alrighty. Thanks for listening, y'all. As always, please subscribe. Everything in the show notes is going to be where you can follow us, where you can get in contact with us. If you have any feedback, for those that have texted us, thank you. You can email us, message us, anything like that. If you have any feedback on the pod, I've really appreciated what I've gotten. I'll hand it off to my other two hosts to chime in. Anything?
Yeah, just tell your friends, give it a share, as much as we can amplify, and don't be shy about like what's resonating and what's not. Like we obviously we came together because we had ideas on what we think will work and what's going to be fun and exciting for us to do. But if y'all have thoughts or like if you have questions or if you have requests for films that we've not seen, I know there's been a lot of outrage about the Beatlesgate.
Have you listened to that playlist, by the way?
I haven't. I haven't.
Cool. Appreciate it.
I do love you. I also found out this week that the Beatles wrote Blackbird.
Yeah. Do you know why they were? And do you know like the like kind of what people think about that song?
Mm-mm.
People think that it's about it's Paul McCartney talking about the civil rights movement. Birds are what British people like what men say about British women. So it's like him talking about like the struggles of black women.
Oh,
not like confirmed, but that's always been like the Yeah. But no, keep dragging them. That's fine. That's totally cool. Yeah.
I'm not dragging them. I just haven't listened. I haven't prioritized.
Yeah, there's
just
better
not the
music
same
out
thing
there.
as antagonizing. I have listened to Cowboy Carter though.
Oh dang, I forgot that came out. Yeah.
Wow.
I heard there's like a whole bunch of Jolene mix-ups. Even Davina hasn't. Well, we've had like a busy couple days. She like hasn't really gotten to listen to it yet. I know there's like some drama about Jolene, and I'm here for it. I'm sure it's good.
It is great.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there. But yeah, people get in the comments about Dylan not listening to the Beyonce album. Please, I need some of this heat off of me now.
Jose, anything you want to chip in with?
I mean, I appreciate every one of you listeners out there. To Dylan's point, to Vaughn's point, feel free to reach out. Any feedback, positive or negative, any suggestions. We try to do relevant movies, but there will be times when we just can't. And so anything that I feel like you guys would want to see our reactions to, again, we're watching the Fast and Furious. There's no way around it. I'm sorry, Dylan. That's going to happen.
I'm fine with it. I don't mind it.
Fine with it and excited about it aren't the same thing, and I need you to get excited about it.
Sure. Do y'all want to do the 24-hour Star Wars marathon? Because I don't. It's crazy how much my Star Wars fandom has like waned. They dropped the trailer for The Acolyte, and I was like barely interested. I was like, I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'm kind of out. Like film, I'll see any Star Wars film.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about most things. I'll watch a movie all day, any day, but TV shows are like it's just a longer slog.
Absolutely.
These new Star Wars shows are shorter though. They're like 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Except for Andor. Andor's dope.
Andor was dope,
Mm-hmm.
and Mando 1 and 2 was good.
Yeah, I agree. Alrighty. Class dismissed. See y'all.
Peace.